Do you want me to do it? You got
Uh,
it. Okay.
okay. Yeah, I typically record on my computer and I put it on YouTube. So yeah, so it's recorded. Any questions about the planning team feedback, the evaluation? Um,
When did you say the deadline was?
so I just put June 15th. About 14
So
days from today.
is this survey specifically only for the boards to get the feedback from the planning team, or is this going to be shared among the planning team too, and keep it as anonymous?
No, this is only for the board. It will not be shared with the planning team.
Okay.
I have a question unrelated to this particular board evaluation, but do we plan to send a more generalized survey out to the folks that did join us for the event?
Are you talking about the guests?
Mm-hmm.
What we
Since Marcy said she only got 2 responses back, I think that would be a really good thing to do too, to just get that feedback.
Yeah, and that was something that I wasn't even aware that was out. Again, I came in halfway too, and so I never heard of conversation that there was a survey that was. Is there a guest experience survey out there?
There is. Our subcommittee created that collectively, and it was on the table on the stand. So there were 2 parts. On the left side was the QR code for donations and stuff, and on the right side was another QR code for survey. And I think there was a lot going on, so we could just forgot to ask, guests to scan that QR code. And so if we want to do that, we can still either maybe like email them or put it on our website that since you attended, we would like to have your feedback and stuff, so we get more responses. But yes, that was on the table.
Okay, yeah, and cool, thanks for bringing that up. The good news is that we have all the emails of the folks that bought tickets, and there are a ton of them. We have compiled that email list already, and so I will put it on here for us to, yeah, it's just in a matter of who will do that. So I'll put that on the list. Anything else related to the feedback form that will be coming out at the end of this meeting?
So you were asking who's going to do that. I think we can have Marcy do it since she has the link to the Google Doc form. And since she was part of the check-in experience, and she's a the board member. Sorry, Marcy, I'm smiling, telling you to do it.
I have access. I just don't have access to the email. So why don't I connect with Mindy, and then we'll figure out how to get that to our guests.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yep. And yeah, I'll share that list with you, Marcy. Okay. Any other questions regarding the feedback form that we will send out? Okay. Second item on our agenda is the funds reimbursement form. I think you guys saw this. I know that Cool had emailed me with the funds request form along with receipts on some items that she had purchased to be used at the banquet. I haven't seen an email from anyone else, and so I will also put this form. It will be in. I will put this form, Marcy, I'm going to put it into chat right now, if you can put it into Notion. And so if anyone has any items that they had purchased out of pocket. Okay. Yep. So I'm going to reserve that and see, because I put it down here for us to talk about it as a different subject matter, so we don't get it confused with the feedback from just the planning team. But I have it here. I'll circle back to it. But yeah, so the funds request form, Marcy has it. She's going to put it into Notion. So if you purchase any items that was for the banquet that was approved, send me the receipt. I'm trying to take care of those items as fast as possible, just because I know that, you guys graciously use money out of your own pockets to go buy it. And so once you send it to me, I'll process it through to Annie and Maestro, and we will reimburse you. And then I am asking that if we can get that to by June 15th, just so that, you know, in August, we don't get an email that said, hey, I purchased these frames on Amazon, you know, can I get reimbursement for it? And we have already, you know, moved on to different projects. So if you can send that funds reimbursement form by June 15th to me, that will be great. And then I think the next 3 items kind of go hand in hand. And Koo, you talked about this a little bit. And I did say, hey, don't send anything out from Seeds for Hope yet, Seeds from Hope yet, just because I wanted to make sure that, you know, we all talk about it here, what that looks like. And so I know that we talked, Koo, you mentioned there was the thank you emails. We also have the card emails. And then also the tax deductible receipts. I've already gotten a couple of emails from the silent auction donors saying, hey, when do we get that receipt? And then we also have the feedback forms from guest layout that C just mentioned. And so I wanted to, and then looking at the group chat, sorry, let's see. I put it somewhere in here. We need to CNCs and just send us the emails. I think, and see, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you like Annie said something in a chat that you were the guest relation person? I forget the title of it.
Yes, so I take care of all of the emails to anyone who has donated. So I'm in charge of that, and I work directly with my Shua and Marcy to get those emails sent out we do that on a monthly basis. So it is the end of the month, so I'll be looking at everybody who has donated, whether that's through PayPal, Stripe, or any of our other platforms. And then I send them the tax deductible email with the amount that they've donated, and then we just keep in touch with them throughout the year.
Okay.
We also keep them in the loop of what's happening with Seeds for Hope as well. So all of that is compiled in one email, just so that they're not bombarded by numerous emails and numerous people from Seeds from Hope. So that was the decision.
Okay. I saw, I wasn't sure. I saw that because my thought is just right. We have the financial donors, the people that just donated money, they didn't show up. We have the sponsors, we have the silent auction donors, we have the event donors like Luan T and them, right? And then we also yeah, and so I wasn't sure what Annie meant by, yeah, okay, the donor engagement and relationship manager. I found it. That's who you are. And so cool. I wanted to also hear a little bit because you had some thoughts too.
I think I just mentioned it so that as a thing to cross off for us. And I guess that I felt like it maybe would have sat in well, I guess nobody really said it. So I just thought maybe this would be something that sponsorship team would follow up on, because like sponsors and being that relations people for the event itself. So that is why I had thrown out that we should definitely do that. But when Annie had said that we have someone in charge of that, then I was like, okay, that's fine. I just didn't want it to go off without being done, which I didn't expect that no one would do it. But I thought too, at the same time, we all have connected with certain sponsors because of like our personal relationships and things like that too. So for me, I personally felt like it would mean more if like I was the one that maybe talked to someone who donated $200 and I did the personal like letter or card to them to say, hey, I really, I'm thankful for your support in us and, for hearing us out and believing in our mission and that kind of thing versus like, I mean, like to me, that's the personal touch that for me, if I was a sponsor, it would mean so much more. But I don't think it's wrong to go the other route too, of like generalizing it as Seeds for Hope too. So that's why I was like, okay, that's fine too. So it just was something that I wanted to make sure that we were not like sleeping out on or something.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing that. And that's super important, right? That we acknowledge. And so I hear you say the sponsors, and I think we got like 10 sponsors, right? I think we have 10 sponsors.
We finished off the event at 9.
9. Okay, so 9 sponsors. And so do let me throw it back at the sponsorship team. Do you guys want to send 9 emails to those 9 sponsors? And or were those and I don't know if the 3 of you guys had connections, personal connections with all 9 of them, or I'm not sure what that looks like.
I think everybody kind of, I mean, Lily had a lot of personal connections to a lot of the really big platinum donors. Annie had a couple, or had maybe one or so. I think my 2 cents is that if Seeds for Hope and the board wants to just journalize it and make that a message from the Seeds for Hope team, that's okay. It's just, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be conversations in the back end on our own, in terms of the relationship that we have with those individuals. It's just more of like, for me, I'm like, we've built that relationship. And so I want to make sure that it's nurtured from the perspective of Seeds for Hope. And let's just say that like maybe Lily, me, or Shang, or whoever like confirmed those sponsorships, if they're not a part of it next year, that Seeds for Hope continues to have that relationship and nurtures that relationship so that you have that support going forward. That's the biggest thing. And if it's not like nurtured, then I feel like that would be a loss, so. But it doesn't matter to me if it ends up being something where Seeds for Hope feels like that would be something to fall under the board and whoever's doing all these follow-up things, that's okay with me too. But I'm sure like between me, Lily, or Shang, or whoever who confirmed these sponsorships, that we're probably, who we've already did that like personal thank you already. So.
And and Lily put on here there was 13 sponsors total. I don't think we have to like pick one or the other, crew. I think we can do both. I think that we can do both because usually it is gonna be general. It's gonna have the thank you, the tax deductible receipts. And so let's just say I'm making this up, Sunshine Retirement Home was a connection that you have. Definitely reach out and thank them on behalf of Seeds for Hope. I think that's totally okay. I think we can do both.
Yes, I think if not, some of us have already probably done that, and if not, then we certainly should emphasize the need for that. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like that a lot. And throwing it back at the sponsorship team, like I said, I don't know whose connection was who, right? And so with the 13 sponsors, are you guys able to kind of like whoever Annie just send out an email and just make sure that we build that relationship, we continue that relationship with them? Is that something the sponsorship team can work be okay with?
No, I think that I agree with you, Mindy, that it could be it could be both approaches. I think a general email from the board is sufficient, and then I think for the personal touch, we can all reach out to the people that we connected with just to let them know how the event went and get their feedback as well, and to thank them personally. So I think both ways work, but for sure the email should probably come from a general board, just so that it's coming from one email account, and then that personal touch can be individualized personally. So I think both approaches work, and it'd be best for the board to do that initial email communication, or that thank you, and then for the remaining like sponsors, we can do those individual touches
Would we
separately.
be able to get a rough, not rough draft, like of the email that you guys are going to be sending out, so that way, if I was to reach out to Jaspiration, right, because she was one of my sponsor that I got for the bronze, I don't want to repeat the same thing what the general email is going to be like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Marcy, your hands up.
I know. I try to do that sometimes, but it doesn't always happen. I also wanted to say that Sunshine's Farm, I wrote a hand note that it's going to be given to them on behalf of me to continue that relationship. So I think that's important. And also one from Seeds for Hope, as I see that Seeds for Hope is recognizing them as this organization. And I also want to mention that we will for sure send a general from Seeds for Hope. I think that personal touch that if we decide to do that, like maybe we all do that if the sponsorship team has the capacity to do that, because I don't want anyone to kind of be left out, right? Or chinyakato, because I mean, there's only 13, so there's not that many, but it is another thing for you to do. And so I think that would be really beautiful if they get a general one and then one that's just that, that relationship that you already have with them. And I don't even know what the one for Seeds for Hope is going to look like, but I wrote my own genuine letter to my sponsor in that way. So
Can you share that with us, the sponsorship, Marcy?
oh, can you say that again, Shane?
Sorry, I was eating mango. I was Google mo
I have two mangoes. Okay, never mind. Just go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, can you share that with us, like what your personal touch of your letter is?
Well, it was very specific to Sunshine's part. It was because I know the person, so yeah, like just between the
Yeah.
two of us. And so I can share what I wrote, but then and some may apply to you and your relationship with that person, or some may not, right? So it's a very special touch to that. And I think maybe that piece is just, like Jaspiration, like if you know them, like just that special touch, it doesn't have to be very fancy, but I just did a handwritten note, so that it's okay that they see one from you, the individual, and the one from Seeds for Hope, representing Seeds for Hope, right? That kind of like formal letter in that piece. But I'll be happy to share my letter or take a screenshot of my card. Minnesota, that'd be very genuine. But if you don't send anything out, if you just did an email or something and it's from you, that's totally fine as well too.
Yeah, I think like for example, right, like my aunt, Dr. Diacha, donated 200. I would say thank you for always like, she was the one that taught me about public service, giving back to the Hmong community. My message to her be that, Maurice, our DJ, he's been my best friend since I was 13 years old, and we're like almost 40. And I've gone to all his like DJ gigs when he started in Colorado, and now he's supporting me. And so I think you can personalize it like that. Whatever it is. I could be very sentimental, Shane. So if you're like, how do I be sentimental? Send me something and I'll make it very vulnerable. That's always what I tell our rising leaders. Like they're doing their scholarship, and I'm like, be vulnerable. We hear you talk. We'll give you the scholarship. So I am one to beg from a very vulnerable sense. So if you need any help with that, I'm more than happy. I do agree that if you whatever that email looks like, once you decide, what that thank you general email from the board looks like, not even the board, from Seeds for Hope. Once you decide what that email looks like from Seeds for Hope, with a tax deductible, how you're going to say thank you, and I'm assuming you're going to share, like how much we raise, 30, whatever it is, send it out to just the team, just so that, I think it's okay. And Elizabeth said, someone once said, there's never enough thank you. We must say at least 7 times. So, yeah, even if the Seeds for Hope email say thank you and you send another one that says thank you, I think that's totally fine. And we can do both, but we definitely do want to nurture our sponsorship, our sponsors, make sure we have that relationship. So we'll let the sponsorship team take care of the 13 sponsors and tap whoever you need to help with the thank you. And then for we all had people, uncles and aunts, sisters, relatives that we begged to buy tickets or to donate stuff. So whatever your relationship is, send it to them. I don't want us to set and say, we have 50 people that donated to a silent auction. We must send every single one of them, because I would tell you right now that I communicated with all of them, and I think I've communicated back for I thank them every single time, even as they continue to email me. And so the last thing I want is just not a very genuine thank you, like just like thanks when we already thank them. So think about it, and I'll look at the silent auction and kind of look at that too. So that kind of covers, right? The tax deductible receipts, as T will do that. The thank you will do that. And then the other one is the feedback from the guests, the survey. T, when you send that, because I think you're gonna send thank yous to the people that bought tickets too, right?
Yes, so anyone who gave money, and anyone who provided a service. So anything, and everybody who had a hand in this banquet. So everybody. So whether they gave money or provided a service or just volunteered, we will be providing them an email, because all volunteer work, it's also tax deductible too, right? And so you could deduct your volunteer time, and if they need that for tax purposes, they could have that. So yeah, everybody.
Okay, perfect. And so that will cover, you will just put the link in for the feedback, the guest experience. And so that covers all three of those. Anything else that you guys can think of that we're missing, that we should send or think about the folks that helped us, or even about ourselves, right? Like, I want to acknowledge you, Shane, for helping too. So see, hopefully you'll send her a tax deductible form, and also she donated to silent auction. But anything else that you guys can think of that you're like, hey, or hey, we can do this extra thing to nurture that relationship.
Yeah, T, make sure you send to me. I save some money for my tax.
How do you determine how do you determine the amount of time that you spend on a tax deductible form?
So
you have to talk to your tax advisor. So that's my IRS hat on. You would have to talk to your tax advisor, but usually it's just tax or mileage, I believe. 種呢個學師係嘅呀，可能這種呢that I know of. I've never had to put number of hours that I've volunteered for, but I've used like volunteer mileage, like from my house to the place, unless somebody knows something else. So
Well, I thought we cannot deduct our time, volunteer time. So I was just curious. Hey, if we are, what is the rate? We could times it by, right?
only if
That'd be
you
great.
donated some. So Shane donated a beautiful, Hmong jewelry. So Shane gets it. Go, okay. You could just put it on your resume that you volunteer for Seeds for Hope, and you are our guest relationship, director. You can even say that.
Don't worry, I
So
updated my.
I wasn't planning to deduct my time. I was just wondering how, if you guys do, how are you going to calculate that?
But Stone, you do bring up a good point though, because like my brother Lee, his workplace offers the volunteer time off kind of thing, and so like they give him amount of like hours that they would pay him to do any kind of nonprofit organization volunteering. So he's using this as a benefit for him. I think you could also look into your employer too to see if they have a volunteer program. And they normally have like a cap on how many hours you can volunteer. And then you can use that to bring that letter that he's going to send out to all of us. And then we can use that for your employer to pay you for
Get the
that.
day off? Oh,
Uh-huh. No,
Okay.
seriously, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
my
you
my
know,
old workplace, we do have volunteer day.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm not looking to get any reimbursement on the time or anything. I just have a general
yeah.
question.
Unfortunately, my company doesn't do that either. Which I know all of us have put in more than 8 hours volunteer time. But yeah, all of you look into your company to see if they offer that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and Sue put in a chat that most corporate companies pay for volunteer hours and encourage those hours to be documented. So yeah, my sister has it. I don't. I work for a nonprofit, so we don't have it. But yeah, if you have that, let us know. We'll give you whatever form it is. I don't know what form it is, but we have we're really good at Googling and researching, right? See, so we will find the correct IRS form for you if you need it. Because we are a legit nonprofit. I tell people that. Okay, so he will do that, and then yeah, we have the feedback from the guests evaluation that we would do that. Anything else about the tax deductible form, the thank yous, and the feedback from guests?
Just to, I don't think I remember hearing this from C, but are you also sending the letter to the businesses that donated for the silent auction too?
Yes,
Okay.
everybody.
And you guys did an incredible job. That Excel sheet, it has everything on it. I've gone through it, and that's why I know that when we're talking about the feedback from the guest experience, now, yeah, I'm like, oh, we have emails from everyone that, paid through PayPal, everything shows up. So we have all of that. It's just a matter of itong by a individually add those emails into an email to send out. So he will take care of that.
See, there's one individual for a donation for an item did not provide an email. I think it is Isna. So if you want to send me his letter, I can personally give it to Zihua to give it to him at work.
Yep. Otherwise, I could contact his wife too.
Oh yeah.
Or email. Yep.
And there's a couple on there that we only have their Facebook page. So feel free, especially on the Young Just Silent Auction donors. Now, yeah, let me know because I communicated with them. And if I don't know, I'll ask Sue. But like if there's a couple that that we don't have Facebook pages for, let us know. We'll try to find you a contact person. Anything else? I like all these things you bring up, Shane. It puts us, keeps us on track. Anything else from anyone? No. Okay, we're doing really well on time. It's 7:24 Mountain Time. Our last focus topic is how much money we raise and how will the funds be allocated. I think we're all excited. And to be honest, we as a board, we just saw this yesterday when we had our board meeting. And so thank you guys for letting us push this meeting back now because of Memorial Day. We had all kinds of meeting that we had to push back. So I am going to share my screen and give you guys the numbers. All right. Do you guys see my screen? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So Mai Shua is our treasurer, and she is a math genius. She does things really pretty. I just took the easy. I just copied some things that were really, really easy for me to take a look at. But she has everything broken down. And so our income, you can see how much money we raised from the sponsors, the tables, tickets, donations, and this is, those folks that donated, and in the silent auction. So we had a total income of $30,822. And then you can see our expenses. So this is the venue, food and decor, right? We knew this number was going to be high, our food and decor, entertainment, planning, auction, and logistics. This is more, what we did for the all those boards, and Sue, thank you, took care of all the baskets and everything for the silent auction items that looked so pretty. And then we have the sponsor, media, public relations, and then other. And so I wanted to know what other is. I'm sure you guys are all curious. So what falls under other is the promo video and photography. I know that this fell under one of these, but it came out on this side. And then the PayPal stripes and fees, so it's almost $700. And then the team appreciation, these are the items that we, as a board, purchased for the planning team for all of our volunteers. And then the silent auction shipping and reimbursements. There were some silent auction donors that asked for reimbursement. And then this was our lunch, $770. And we just rounded it to our net proceeds is $21,827. We at Seeds for Hope, we have 3 core programs. So we have our mentorship, we have our leadership program, our scholarship program, and we have operations. And so we are a new baby, small nonprofit. And so we put a lot of thought. I know it doesn't look like we put a lot of thought, but we did into how do we allocate our funds? How are we going to spend them? And so we essentially just divided it by 4 and we have 4 pots. We put $5,456.75 into each pot. And so again, this is just the funds that we received from the fundraiser. And I'm super excited because, right, our total goal was 20,000 and we went over by almost, by 1,800, a little over $1,800. Do you guys have any questions about the money that came in? Any questions about what, each of these pot takes care of?
I do. So under the expenses, I think we're missing our check-in experiences. We had a little bit of a expense that we bought for like the table stands and stuff like that. Is that included in that?
Mai Shua, our treasurer, took care of that. I don't know where she put it under here. You know what? I bet you it went under decor.
Okay, I just want to make sure if that's included.
Yeah, it went under
$40 or $50. So
yeah, we try to categorize, and what we learn from this is that at the next time, for example, this is sponsored media public relations. Now, yeah, what we learn is that at the next time, we're going to even break that down further. So it's not just going to say, yep, sponsor spent $628, but we're going to break it down like these, this went to gift basket, this went to this. But this was how and this is our accounting form that generated this. So this wasn't like you guys or it wasn't us. It was just that. And so we learned from this, especially with our treasurer, that, hey, we need to do a better job at capturing what it is under each of these subcategories. Any questions about anything money related here?
is this going to be shared publicly?
Yes. Yep. So this will be shared with the public. I envision something really pretty, right? That we share kind of like I work for a nonprofit and we share at the end of the year, we share, a nice document of our funding. And so we will share this. It's not going to be Seeds for Hope's funding, but we will share this part of it, like how much money we raised, because we really want the public, we want to be transparent about the money we raise and how we're going to spend it. And also to let them know, right? Like continue to support us, like we're growing. This is momentum for Seeds for Hope. And this is because of, this planning team, is that when people see, oh, wow, like Ning donated 30,000, like this is a legit like nonprofit. And so we want to share it. This will be part of like our marketing. Any questions?
Seems like I'm the only one with a bunch of questions here. So when you say fiscal year, like what does that mean? Like, is it when public y'all anybody's in later pay, like when they go to school like that, or like because they're coming up to an end, right? In June is when they're done with school. So is our fiscal year from the beginning of the school year all the way to June like that, or what do you mean by quote quote end of the year?
So I was talking about the nonprofit I work for. The nonprofit
Oh,
I
okay.
work for, we share our funding once a year only, right? Like we do at end of the year, we share at the end of our fiscal year. We do that here. I'm gonna be honest, I was first the treasurer, but I knew that was not my strength. So we got Maishuo, who is an accountant, does this for a living. And so I think we had to change something. So I actually don't know when our fiscal year is. Maishuo and knows that as our treasurer. And so that's what I was talking about, is that when we share this, we're going to share this in the next couple of weeks. These numbers we'll share because we want the public to know, hey, at this fundraiser event, this is how much money we raised, and this is our expenses, and this is where the money is going into, so that we're very transparent with our supporters, that this is where our money is going. So we will share that.
I have a question about the funds, for the allocation. I know that the Laos conference is coming up. Are some of those costs going to be going towards that at all? Like some of this funds that was fundraised? And would that fit under the operations category, or where does that fit?
So the Laos conference fit under leadership, so it goes into this pot right here.
Okay, thanks.
Do you guys want me to hear some of the breakdowns within what goes under each?
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Okay. I'm going to stop my share so I can pull up the document. Okay, so we have 3 programs, right? And then operation is basically just operation. Now, yeah. So for mentorship, we have our curriculum, right? So it's the self-empowerment, the elective curriculum. We have the starter kits, right? So all of our rising leaders, we make sure that at the beginning of the year, they have earbuds, right? They have notebooks, they have a planner, they have pens, they have pencils, they have everything that they need to have a successful year with us. We also do an end of the year celebration with them to celebrate them. And then we also do background checks for our big mentors, and we have to pay for those. We have to pay for Zoom. We have to pay for our website. We have Bakul Janaya. She is our program host that we pay for. And then we have our t-shirts that we give to our mentors and also our rising leaders. So those are just some of the items that fall under mentorship. And then leadership, our conference falls under that because our conference is really focused on helping big rising leaders become leaders, in their own lives and for the people around them. And then service and outreach projects, you guys see that where they go to, it was for us, it's so little, right? To go to the school and teach kids how to wash their hands. But like in Laos, like that was such a privilege for like, and so we want to continue, and our rising leaders, they feel so empowered doing that. And so those are our service and outreach projects. And then you guys also know that we have our ambassadors, where they really represent Seeds for Hope in Laos. And really, we talked a lot about this. Our goal is they run these programs and we don't run it, right? So that's under leadership. The scholarship, we're in the middle of that right now. We have the academic, the rising grant, the laptop, the legacy donor, the MyChia scholarships. And then operations are things like Notion, our case management system, Zoho, professional liability insurance, our bank fees. You guys saw that. It was almost $700 that we spent during this fundraising event. Legal fees. We have, a registered agent to help us with our nonprofit, filing our taxes, marketing, things like that. So those are some items that I captured to share, like where our money goes, because people are going to want to know, like leadership, what does that mean? Any questions about the 3 programs and also operations?
Mindy, I did put in the chat that our fiscal year is from October 1st to September 30th of every year. So,
okay. And if you're asking why, I know there's a reason why, but I don't remember. It has something to do with funding, with grant. It has something to do with that. And that's why it was really awkward. That's why I can't remember. Okay, so that we covered the 5 agenda items. We also covered an extra one, which was the guest experience feedback. Anything else for us to wrap up before I conclude this meeting? I think this is the first time that we are done way ahead of time, but I think it's because we're, we're at the end and we saw the fruit of our labor. And so anything else that anyone have for us to discuss that is not on the agenda?
When is the next banquet?
Oh, shame, bitchy, we're not ready for that. So what I would say is that we're gonna be announcing, we can't announce because we have some things to it's some business to take care of before we announce, but once we announce what the next thing is, let's just say it's going to be huge and you guys are going to be so excited. We want to share, but we have been told we cannot. And so once we share that with you, you'll know what our next step is. But we are only going to grow. I promise you that.
Well, I guess I'm
Actually,
gonna have to drive there. Just share with me.
What did you say, Shane? Share with you?
I said I'm gonna have to bribe her to so she pin her down and share with me.
You
Beat
can't
her up,
no,
Shane.
can't share because press release hasn't happened yet. So I got the word from the big people. We can't share yet.
See, I'll put it. Once I know how to make my steam roll, then you have to share with me. That's an
You
inside
just
joke.
took my recipe, so that doesn't work. I do have something to share though. Our next big banquet is our Laos conference. It's taking place July 6th, and we're going to be streaming that live. So I encourage all of you guys to watch it when it does go live. It's the next big thing that we are planning for right now, and I'm so excited just because I'm the chair of that, and I think that it's going to go really well. We have over 46 rising leaders who have already paid their deposit and signed up. And so that is the next big thing on our plates right now. So yeah, encourage your rising leaders to, I guess we're at the deadline already, but we could possibly take more if you guys bribe me with the go or something. I don't know. So,
Yeah, that's
but yeah, so
exciting.
that would be the next big thing. Yep.
Is there anything that us planning team here can help? Anything left that we can help?
With the
Not unless you're gonna fly over to Laos. We do need hands on deck to go to Laos.
And you pay your own
But,
expense.
Yeah,
And then
at your
and
own
then get
expense.
reimbursed back?
We don't have money to reimburse you, but if you can go, we need bodies, American bodies.
Yeah, yeah, but
Can you share
um,
with us on who? Because I don't know for sure if my rising leader did pay yet. Who would be the person that I can contact with in regards to see if my rising leaders paid for that?
that would be me.
Okay.
Yeah, I could do that offline. Just send me the names of your rising leaders and I'll tell you if they registered and if they paid.
Okay.
I do want to put a plug in that the scholarship for the rising leaders end right now. It ends on May 31st, Marcy. So they literally have
midnight.
they have till midnight their time. So that you know it's 8:39 a.m. So they have today to turn in their scholarship videos and everything. So please message your rising leaders and have them apply if they haven't.
Yeah. Please reach out to them and help them because I already got a few people's like, I don't know how to even take a screenshot of the application and then like sign my name on there. So there's those obstacles that we think is so easy, but it's very challenging for some of them. So reach out to them to see what they need help with, and then, reach out to me or the scholarship team. We'll be happy to help with that as well too. And if they're just like, I can't get this to go to email, just take their stuff. Just take their stuff, help them so they can get through. So and then you'll have to do the part of like just sending it to me and we'll organize everything for them. Yeah. But Mindy, I want to applaud you. You were over. No, you did an hour and 1 minute, and you stopped at 36, and you still have 23 minutes left.
I know, because I get down to business.
I thank you.
I have something to ask.
Oh.
Where will there be updates about like the strategic planning session that you guys had? And is there a future plan on the trajectory of Seeds for Hope and where that could look like and where it could go? I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
That's really cool. Thanks for asking.
Mhm.
I love that you're asking because I love to share it with people what we're doing. So, we've been doing Seeds for Hope for 4 years now. And we really started, if you guys are all mentors, so you guys know, they really wait for us to lead and then and so we've been doing this for 4 years and we have been leading. And we recognize at Seeds for Hope that they are their own expert in their own lives. And so our strategic board meeting when we met, it takes to have a really good strategic plan for a nonprofit like us is we need at least a year for us to plan, and we need to be consulting with people. We can't just like make things up. So our next step is that we met as a board to talk about what we need to do moving forward to have this plan. We are working with Bao, our keynote speaker. And so we will be working with her, and she's going to be kind of like Beitu mentor and Seeds for Hope, because we hear loud and clear from all of you guys that like we need to be financially secure, right? We need to sustain ourselves financially and not like every year. And Bao tells us the same thing. And so Bao is an expert in his field, and so we're going to be working with her. So we really talked about that. The next step is, right, our rising leaders are their own experts in their own lives. And so part of that's what we need, Shane, if you can go to Laos, is we're going to be having listening sessions. And these listening sessions are evidence-based sessions that we're going to facilitate that we pulled online with very focused topics to ask these groups that we're going to split up, so we don't have like 30 rising leaders to one person and then everyone talk in an hour. We're not going to hear anything. So we're going to split them all up, have listening sessions as part of the leadership conference to really ask them, what do you need in your country in Laos? Because we know that we can't bring them here to this country. We're not there yet. I mean, that would be, a 10-year goal is that we work with the university and we can bring them over, or we work with like a staffing agency, we can bring him here, but we're not anywhere there. And so we want to ask them, what can we do to support you guys? And some of the things that we've heard from them are like, and Bao talks about this, right? In her story of how, gosh, I don't remember the story, like exactly what it was, but like, one little shop, right? It's like a little shop, not that multiplying to 20. And next thing you know, it's like 20 of those belong to that young man's family. And so like, but we don't know if that's what they need. And so we want to go down there, have the listening sessions and really hear what is it that's going to help them so that we don't guide our goal to what we Hmong American women think they need, but what they need. And this is also not just Hmong Blanc, but we have our Hmong Vietnamese, we have our Hmong Thai, and we want to expand that. And so that is our next step is we can't make any plans if we don't know what benefits our rising leaders. So that's where a lot of emphasis in that's what Bata Marcy we're jumping right into a big project, and that is the start of the strategic plan for Seeds for Hope. And so we don't know where that's going to go yet because we need to hear from them first. And we need to know what is our capacity to support them in that area.
Thank you.
No, I guess I wanted to bring something up because I think it's great that, in the process we have a feedback form, right, for the banquet. But I guess I wanted to hear what, in general, what people thought in terms of like improvements or opportunities for like next year's banquet. Just because I think while the feedback survey is going to be really helpful for the board, I think it would be great to also just kind of hear in general, like what people's thoughts were, in terms of, opportunities for improvements for next year, since we're in this conversation to wrap up the banquet. So wanted to just kind of put it out there and see if people had any like general thoughts around, what can be improved for future years, or what are some of the areas that maybe didn't go as well that we can do better.
Yeah, does anyone want to piggyback on Lily before we respond?
I can say something. This is cool. I think that overall the event went very well. I think a little bit of a hiccup was maybe like the order of how things were happening in terms of programming, because I think that kind of, I mean, especially like after that lunch or not lunch, dinner time frame, it kind of, I think it kind of like, because it was like more of a buffet, then it kind of allowed for more people to browse casually, and then we kind of lost the audience, I think, eventually. And so I thought that we could probably think more, if, in another tiny time, on how the order of things could happen in terms of that. And then I thought that overall we did well with the program. However, I think one thing that I had observed is that we did a lot of like repeated asking, right? And I think it was good because it was intentional too, but also one thing that I always believe in is that sharing the stories is more like, to me, how we could get more commitment to the purpose and to the mission. And so I think that we could maybe in the next time around, we can think about how we can make that impactful story happen. I know that we did a lot of like video sharing and things like that, but also I think how do we like really move the audience so that it's not like every few minutes we're like, hey, you should donate, hey, you should donate, but more like move them to the point where they feel very enticed to do something about it, right? To act on it. So I think that would be just kind of one thing that I observed. Although, I think sometimes depending on the circumstances, it's also good to be intentional and be like, this is my exact ask. But I think also more of the story sharing piece so that we can really provide that impact that we really want to see. So that was it.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing, Ku. And that's why it's so important. But that's Shanghai. It's not mandatory to fill out this feedback form, but those are the things that we want to hear, Ku. And Lily, what I can do, what I will be willing to advocate for the planning committee is that if we get some themes out of this feedback form, is that we can share the themes of things that went really well and things that went sideways and things that we can improve on. And so I will definitely advocate that from the board, if we can share themes like that. I think that's appropriate to do. But like I said, I want people's, really raw and honest opinion on this so that we can really learn and do better. So kind of cool about that, yeah, I appreciate that, put it on this form. And if we can get themes on it, that's the best way to grow and learn from it. And so, yeah, I'll let you guys know, by the end of June, since this survey is, the feedback is due June 15th. That'll give the board time to at least have assessed the feedback form and for us to take a look at it, see if there are some common themes. Honestly, if it comes back and it's just like Mindy suck, she's a horrible co-chair. Obviously, that's not a theme for us to share. But if it's like the food was so cold and they were so late, things like that, like themes that we can pick up on and share, we'll be willing to share with that. And I hope that that's fair for you guys. We want to be as transparent as possible, but we also want to ensure that we get honest feedback from people where we can improve as a whole. We have 9 minutes left. Anything else that you guys need before we wrap up this meeting? Once we wrap up, we are going to send the feedback form to you guys. And T will take care of things on her end with all the people that donated money. And yeah, and then we wrap up. We won't meet anymore, and then just stay tuned for our next big announcement once Marcy High, the press release gets out there into the public, and then we will announce on our end what's happening next. And you guys, we're excited, but it's gonna take a lot of work. So we hope you guys will check the box that said you will volunteer again.
Yeah, I just want to say that I thought everybody did a really fabulous job overall, given that, this event was kind of short planned, right? I mean, we didn't really start the planning until end of January. And so I feel like we did a great job for a quick turnaround. But like Shane was saying earlier, I think next year's event, regardless of when it will happen, it's probably good to go ahead and set a date for the next banquet for next year. That way there's ample time to prepare and get started with just planning purposes and location. I really think that Unison as a venue is horrible for this because their technology is just not up to par. And that was one of the biggest failures from my perspective, was the technology. The technology is, great for like just like a normal event, right? But when you're trying to do a fundraiser, it doesn't set up to be professional. And so it doesn't provide the professional vibe that I think any nonprofit, or if you want major sponsors to sponsor, they will not be impressed by just in venue like Unison and their technology failures. That was my biggest complaint about the evening. And I think that if there's a date in advance, then there's more options to plan ahead in terms of venue and to really scope out like what are the opportunities, so that the goals are clear for the next event. And even if it's not like you're planning the nitty gritty at this point, but at least knowing like the venue and location, and start thinking about some of the ideas around what that next event will be and what kind of funding opportunities there are. There's a lot of opportunities in that area that I think can get started now, because most fundraiser events are planned out a year in advance, if you want them to be effective, and if you want to raise like 100,000, let's say, right? And so there's a lot of opportunities, but it's just a matter of how early we plan, and how prepared we are to be able to address and find the right types of businesses and corporations that would be willing to support the cause.
And I think
So-
Lily, that's why we have the feedback form. So use that, and I trust us when I say our announcement will come out and everything will fall into places. So I would say put that in a feedback. I think we all can agree that Unison was not the best. But I got some compliments. I've never been in Unison, and people were like, dang, this is the best event we've ever been to at Unison. no drinking, no fighting. So actually, to me, I thought it was good because people thought it was really awesome, and I'm not from there.
Yeah.
But we do
Can I
have
add?
the
Go
feedback.
ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Put that in there, and like I said, once we announce what the next big thing is, you're going to realize that a lot of the things that you and Shane and Ku you guys are talking about, it's all in the works.
Yeah. Yeah, so make sure you have that in the feedback form because we're probably gonna forget about it. And I like that, Lily, you're thinking ahead about venue and all that stuff. But I also want to share and be transparent that our organization is not in the space to have a date right now, or think about that, because our next big goal is our Rising Leaders, that conference. We are using a lot of our energy to make sure that goes well, and that we complete that. And then also with the next thing that we're going to share, it's going to kind of go in hand with that too. So I also appreciate that you are thinking forward, and looking ahead about what we need to do, and those are all really important too, that when we do have our next banquet, that we consider all of those things as well, because yeah, Unison said one thing, that they have a projector, but it didn't work very, very well at all. And so please put that in the survey so that we can make sure to take a look at that when we do plan for something the next time.
And I just want to say, hopefully we don't have to do another banquet. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And maybe that banquet will be like an every 2-year type of deal, not every year. So our plan is to not have to ask for donations. So we'll see what happens with the next big project that we're going to be doing.
Marcy, I'm putting the survey, the feedback form into the chat right now, if you want to put it into Notion. And
It's
so
It's a Notion. The
Oh.
feedback form, the fund request is a Notion. And it's already in the Facebook message group chat.
Okay, perfect. So it's all in there. It is 7:57. I am going to have us conclude. Does anyone have a exciting conclusion celebration activity for us? Shane, I'm looking at you. You always have something exciting to share. So anything you want to lead for us to close out the banquet wrap up?
I'm just so excited that I made new friends with all of you. So I have over 400 friends now on Facebook. And so it's amazing. And I'm gonna miss you all. I was just telling Marcy the other day or last week ago that, man, I miss our late night meetings, just talk about stuff. I don't know. So no, nothing too exciting, but it's a bittersweet. It's bittersweet for sure. But I did get my garden done. I gotta get those rabbits out my garden. So, but that's it.
All right. Well, I am going to let us all go. I'm
Hey, you can't say me. You can listen to everybody else too.
Oh, I was gonna have you do like I didn't, I wasn't, my question was not for you to tell me something, it was for you to do an activity for us. And I thought your activity was just to share what you wanna,
Oh, I just got
like you get to lead and you get to be like, everyone share one great thing about, your committee that you did that you were really proud of, or one thing that you can improve on next time, something. I was just very,
No, the feedback survey. We don't got time, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's why I kind of figure. So I will just let us conclude. Like I said, the feedback is not mandatory, but we really need that in order to be better. Each and every one of us, as a board member, I will say is and when I first met like Shane, Lily, Nick, Gona, it was my first time meeting a lot of the board members too. So we've been working together for really, like Annie, it's my first time meeting Annie, in 4 years. And so I'm really excited about the sisterhood that we're creating. And that is why we're going to be very intentional about how we show up at Seeds for Hope, and we really believe in co-creation and connection. And that at the end, like I said, I like the vulnerable feeling of we can be really open with each other. And just know that like we have each other's back, you know, at the end of the day, you know, even we have each other's back because that's how we demonstrate to our rising leaders. And that's how we stop this cycle of like, oh, the bond, you know, we don't want that. And we show up here and so that they have that because they don't have that there. Like if you notice, if you talk to your rising leaders, they keep everything. So I'm really excited that we do it here first. And like I said, the next announcement will bring us all closer together and we can change the world for big y'all, you know, for Hmong people. So with that said, thank you. Good night. You guys pat yourself in the back. We did $30,000, y'all. Like that's for the first time, you know, like for a nonprofit, like small, and some of you guys said, like, what seats for hope? I mean, $30,000, like that's amazing. So it's because we all hustled like crazy. So thank you. All right, good night.
Thank you.
Yeah,